Hello! For this beginner class, I recommend 1 to 2 yoga blocks and a blanket to cushion the knees. If you do not have a block, you can use another rolled up blanket or something similar that will provide firm support for underneath the hand and your head. In the video, I will be showing how to modify poses with a block. However, all poses can be done without one. Let's start our class today in child's pose. If you have a blanket, you can layer it underneath the knees. Your knees can be together, maybe knees out wide. Begin to sink your hips back down into the heels. Arms can extend forward here, palms facing down. Maybe close the eyes if that feels safe and just begin to tap into the breath, bring that attention inwardly. Begin to notice the breath as you inhale through the nose. And for this first one, open mouth, let it go. A few more breaths just like that, maybe beginning to slow the breath down a little bit. You can add a little movement here if you'd like, so maybe tilting the head side to side, massaging through the forehead, release through the neck, the shoulders. Eventually, your next inhale will lift you up into tabletop position. So lift the hips, we'll stack hips over knees, shoulders over wrist. Continuing with the breath, we'll flow this through some cat-cow. So as you inhale, drop the belly, open up through the chest, maybe lift your gaze. On your exhale, arch the spine up towards the sky as you press the palms down into the earth. A few more breaths just like that. Inhale, drop the belly, think about squeezing the shoulder blades together. On your exhale, think about pulling the shoulder blades apart as you round through the spine. About 2 or 3 more breaths here. You can close the eyes, maybe flow the spine in different directions, pausing anywhere that needs a little extra space today. When you feel about even, we'll pause through center, tabletop. We'll make our way to a twisted gate pose. So starting from our tabletop position, plant the hands. We'll extend our right leg off to the side, so perpendicular to our body. See if you can keep the foot in line with the hips. Then we'll thread the needle. So keep your left hand planted down. Inhale, right arm will lift up towards the sky. Maybe lift the gaze. On your exhale, thread the needle. So threading that right hand underneath the left shoulder. You can reach your right ear down towards the mat. You can also slide a block underneath the head for a little extra support. About 2 or 3 breaths here. And taking your time, begin to unwind. Press into the left hand. Inhale, unwind. Take a little counter twist. Open up over towards the right. Maybe you take some circles or movements through the top arm. We'll make our way to gate pose. When you're ready, we'll lift up, stacking shoulders over hips, and then lifting up onto that left knee. That right leg stays extended. If you have those blocks, you can set them on either side of your hips, and we'll take this into a little flow. To come into our gate pose, we'll sweep the right hand down, either towards a block, the mat, or it can rest gently on the right leg. Left arm will sweep up overhead as you windmill it over the body. You can lift your gaze if you'd like, find a little side bend. Then on your next breath, we'll windmill it over towards the other side. Left hand to mat or block, right arm sweeps up overhead, and maybe lift your gaze. A few more just like that, flowing with the breath. Can flow over towards the right, left arm lengthens up. See if you can keep the chest squared towards the front edge of the mat. And then when you're ready, we'll sweep it over towards the other side. This time we'll come back into our gate pose, so sweep the hands over towards the right. Find a little pause here. If hands resting on the leg, little pressure on the leg, you can also bring your fingertips to the mat or block. See if you can draw the left shoulder back as you inhale, open up through the ribs. On your exhale, this time we'll release the hands towards the front. Come back into your tabletop position. Then we'll send your hips back, child's pose. About 3 breaths here. You can close the eyes, reconnect with your breath. And take another full breath in and empty the breath out. We'll take that same flow to the other side. So on your next inhale, we'll lift up back into tabletop. If you want any little movement here through cat-cow, you can take that. The no rush, we'll take that gate pose and we'll thread the needle from there. So from your tabletop, this time we'll extend the left leg perpendicular to the body, extending it out long over towards the left, trying to keep the left foot in line with the hips. Right hand stays grounded, left arm opens up as you inhale. And on your exhale, we'll thread the needle, bring that arm underneath the right shoulder, left ear to mat, or slide a block underneath the head. About 2 to 3 breaths here. And taking your time, when you feel about even, press down into the right hand, unwind, take a counter twist. Left hand opens up, maybe lift your gaze. You can take some circles or movement through that top arm if you'd like. Then we'll lift up into gate pose. So lifting up, we'll stack shoulders over hips. You can rearrange those blocks if you need to on either side of your hips. Left hand will reach down either lightly towards the left leg, to the block, or maybe a mat. Right arm will sweep up overhead as you lean over towards the left. On your next breath, we'll sweep over towards the right. Right hand to mat or block, left arm reaches up overhead. One more time, sweeping over towards the left as you inhale. Reach that right arm up overhead. Can you find a little more opening through that right side? And as you're ready, we'll sweep it back over towards the right, right hand down, left arm up overhead. This time we'll pause in gate pose, so sweeping the hands back over towards the left. Right arm reaches up overhead. See if you can get your chin out of the chest, maybe draw that right shoulder back. About 2 breaths here. Keep pressing down strong to the legs. See if you can expand through that right side. One more full breath in. And on your exhale, release the hands forward, come back into that tabletop position. And we'll meet in child's pose. Send your hips back. About 3 breaths here. Stay here longer if you need. When you're ready, inhale will lift you up into a seat. We'll swing the legs out in front. You can plant your feet out wide, hands maybe behind the hips. Windshield wiper the legs as you swing the knees from side to side. Create some movement here into the hips. And stay in this movement longer if you'd like. We'll make our way to a seated figure 4. We'll cross our right leg over our left thigh. Let the ankle kind of hang off the leg, and then flex the right toes towards your shin to protect the knees. You can adjust the pose by either sliding the heel in closer towards the hips or maybe further away. Once you found a good foot placement, think about pressing into the palms, into the earth behind you, as you squeeze the shoulder blades together and melt your chest towards your right leg. About 3 or 4 more breaths here. And take your time. You can unravel the legs, plant the feet, windshield wiper the legs side to side, release through the hips. And when you're ready, we'll take that to the other side. This time crossing that left leg over the right thigh. You can let the left ankle kind of hang off as you flex the left toes towards your shin to protect your knee. Making that adjustment as you need, so sliding that right heel a little bit closer towards the hips or maybe further away. And then if you'd like, you can press into the palms, squeeze the shoulder blades together as you melt the heart forward, chest towards that left calf. About 3 or 4 more breaths here. When you feel about even, you can unravel the legs, plant the feet, windshield wiper the legs side to side. Stay here longer if you need, or we'll eventually make our way onto our backs. You can keep hugging the legs in towards the chest, rocking side to side, massaging through the low spine. We'll make our way to half wind relieving pose. Keep your right leg drawn in towards your chest. You can plant the left foot down on the mat or extend it out long if that feels okay in the hips or the back. Keep drawing your right thigh towards the right ribs, knee in the direction of the right shoulder. A few more breaths here. You can take some circles through the right ankle if you like, or maybe point and flex. About 2 or 3 more breaths, thinking about creating some compression through the right side. Stay here longer if you need, or option to come into a half happy baby. We'll point the sole of your right foot up towards the sky. Keep about a 90-degree bend in that right leg. You'll take your right arm, reach from the inside of the knee, and then work your hand around towards the pinky toe side of the foot to reach for the sole of the foot. You can begin to gently pull down if you'd like a little self-assist, working to energize your right thigh towards the mat, over towards the right side. Option to use your left hand to help anchor your left hip down. A few breaths here. And stay here longer if you'd like, or we'll take this into a twist. This time we'll bring the right leg across the body. You can maybe scoot the hips a couple inches over towards the right if that feels better in the spine. Option to add a block or two underneath the right leg if you need a little extra support. Trying to keep both shoulder blades grounded. You can keep the gaze neutral or maybe bring it over the right shoulder if that feels okay in the neck. About 5 or 6 breaths here. We're over halfway. Continue to root down into the breath. See if you can let go of any tension you may hold anywhere, maybe in the legs, the jaw, the shoulder. About 2 more breaths. And taking your time, when you feel ready, we'll unravel, come onto the back. You can hug the legs in towards the chest, maybe rock side to side or draw circles with the knees in either direction. Then we'll take that to the other side whenever you're ready. Left leg in towards the chest. You can plant the sole of the right foot down or extend it out long. Reaching for your shins, see if you can draw your left thigh in towards the left ribs, knee in the direction of the left shoulder. And creating some compression through the left side. Maybe taking some circles or movements through the left ankle if you'd like. A few breaths here. Stay here longer if you need. Eventually we'll make our way to half happy baby. Point the sole of the left foot up towards the sky. And keeping that 90-degree bend in that left leg. We'll take our arm, reach on the inside of the knee, and then your hand will wrap around towards the pinky toe side of the foot. Reaching for the sole of the foot, you can take that bind and then gently begin to draw that left thigh towards the mat. Right hand can help anchor the right hip down. A few breaths here. Stay here longer if you need. Eventually we'll make our way into our twist. You can bring that left leg across the body. Maybe scoot the hips a couple inches over towards the left to realign the spine. Option to add blocks underneath that left leg if you'd like some extra support. Gaze can stay neutral or maybe bring it over towards the left if it feels okay in the neck. About 5 or 6 breaths here. You're over halfway. Take a moment again to rescan through the body, see if you can let go of anything you're holding on to in the body, in the breath, or in the mind. About 2 more breaths. When you feel about even, we'll come back through center. You can realign the hips. You can hug the legs in towards the chest, maybe find a full happy baby, reaching for the soles of the feet. Option to gently rock side to side, massage through the low spine. No rush to get there. We'll make our way to Supta Baddha Konasana. We'll bring the soles of the feet together, knees out wide like butterfly legs. Option to slide a block underneath each knee if you need a little extra support. Options for the hands, they can rest on the inner thighs, maybe bring one hand to chest, one to belly. You can also extend your arms up overhead, maybe reaching for opposite elbow for a little more shoulder and chest opening. We'll be here for about 8 to 10 breaths. Feel free to close the eyes if that feels safe. Notice if you hold any tension anywhere, maybe in the hips and the shoulders or the jaw. With your next exhalation, can you make the choice to let something go? About 3 or 4 more breaths. And taking your time as you're ready, begin to deepen into the breath. You can use your hands to draw the knees together, plant your feet, maybe windshield the legs side to side, create some movement into the hips. You can stay here, maybe hug the legs in towards the chest, or maybe extend arms up overhead. The option to roll over onto either side and take a few breaths there. Keeping that stillness with you, eventually we'll make our way up into a seat. You can bring hands to heart center, maybe keep the eyes closed if you'd like. And we'll end our practice with a single breath. As you're ready, inhale, flip the belly, feel the ribs expand, chest lift, open mouth, let something go. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my practice with you today, and I hope to be with you next time you're on your mat.